Council Ward number 1, Hembry.
Yes.
Yes.
Ward number 2, Helm.
Yes.
And Ward number 3, McNeil.
Here.
All right, so agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion.
McNeil with first and Cummins with the second.
Cummins,
Yes.
Hembry,
Yes.
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
All right, so the only thing we have under this tonight is a discussion only, but it's an update concerning the status of the industrial feeder project and solar project. Mr. Wagner?
Yeah, Owen, do you want to speak to that, you and Brian?
Sure.
Yeah, we have an item that is going to be on the council's agenda after this meeting where the council is being recommended to reject bids, mainly because the arrival of materials won't match what the bids were for labor. And so with that, do you want to take it from there on the feeder project? And then I can talk to him a little bit more about the solar project when we get through this one.
I'll go through the platform here. So, hello again.
Hello.
So, all right, so basically, I'll try and keep this somewhat short. So we went out for bids for this particular project with an assumption in mind that Tipton was going to be able to procure some of the equipment in a normal, timely fashion. However, what we're experiencing can definitely be construed as market volatility. And some of the material which normally would arrive in a few weeks, we're now seeing lead times of 20 and 30 and 40 weeks based upon different quotes that we're getting. So, and this was something that Floyd was chasing down prior to his departure, and Brian seeing some of the same inconsistencies in quotes and lead times. We've been reaching out to different vendors for different quotes on material. And you ask this particular vendor, he might tell you a lead time of 8 weeks, and you ask this one, same material, and you're getting 30 weeks. So it's kind of a little bit all over the place as to what we're getting and when we're getting it. And as a result, that's kind of throwing our schedules a little bit everywhere. So, so the original intention with the project was to try and complete it in this calendar year, which is how all of the bidding documents went out to the vendors or to the contractors. It's quickly becoming obvious that they're not going, by the time material arrives, they're not going to have time to complete it in this calendar year. And that's going to affect their bidding as well as their pricing for completion, as well as the overall completion of the project. And that in turn, by lengthening out the project, that's no fault of the bidders, but that can increase their costs and subject the city to change orders that we'd like to try and avoid, and we'd like to try and be upfront and honest with all the bidders. So, so just in the interest of clarity to the bidders and everything, we want to make sure we get our materials lined up, make sure we know when they're coming, and make sure that all of the contractors know exactly when the labor is expected to be performed. It's kind of what we are envisioning as the fairest to everybody involved at this point in the project. I'd say, well, I guess from that matter, are there any questions from the group here?
When did Cedar Poly need this upgrade?
Well, Cedar Poly, we don't need it explicitly now. That's actually been something that John and I were discussing right before this. It's not I don't believe we're in a make or break situation where, you know, where drastic measures have to be taken. Cedar Poly is hoping to bring their additional units online from what I've been told in March of 23. So, but even so, existing infrastructure should be able to handle the incremental additions that they're proposing right now. So it is more load on the system, but we should be able to handle it for the time being.
I didn't actually think about that. We just added 2 machines.
So,
John, sorry. We did get rid of one. Yeah, I never thought about that.
This is kind of a two-parter because not only is Cedar Valley getting, or Decorators is the name now, not only are they getting this new equipment to be online by March, they have intentions to grow beyond that too.
Sure.
So there's more coming.
Mhm.
So the project is still on our radar. We still intend to do it. There's a lot of good reasons why we should do it. One, it gives relief to the east feeder. Two, it gives relief to the west feeder. It runs a brand new circuit all the way from the central substation all the way out there, providing ample power, not only for that, but also, and I want to talk too about adding just a little bit of engineering to this, to add a means to go from one of our switch gears and backfeed as opposed to the west or both.
Well, you could technically tie it all together if you had to, but you can isolate it.
Yeah.
It gives us a lot more variation of what we can do.
Gives us options to feed different parts of town from a new circuit. So you relieve the east, you relieve the west, you provide new, better power and provide for growth in the commercial. You provide
and it
new
provides
looping
a sense of redundancy that you don't currently have.
and something to consider is the valuation of the growth and the payback. Without the feeder, we're probably not talking about growth up there. With the feeder, we are. So,
Are you have any luck at all getting anything else for the materials?
I mean, well, go ahead.
yeah, two orders are confirmed and we have delivery dates, and these are big items. They're switchgear. Delivery dates, the bases were coming, I think 8/31. The switchgear themselves, I think were coming November this year.
Mhm.
Okay.
November can still put the project on.
That represents 200,000 of approximately 750,000 materials. We already, behind the scenes, John and I, mostly John, are working on the rest of the material list and getting pricing and lead time. And we're out in the mud today. We didn't get quite time to study them all this afternoon, but more come in as we were working. Lead times of anywhere from 22 to 52 weeks.
Mhm. So one of the items that kind of threw us for a little bit of a loop was Floyd had quoted some of the cable, and they had quoted it to us as being deliverable in July. He went to go order it 2 days later, and they shifted the lead time out to him till January.
That said also, unless it's already in the works, if Cedar Poly is intending to add machines, whatever, they also have lead times. So unless it's
Yeah.
purchased and,
And they are,
okay, I'll say,
Yeah,
and
they have.
been confirmed,
and they're working.
they might have some,
They're working from
That's me.
order confirmations. and
Okay.
Projected times.
okay.
For a while, we were thinking maybe we'd still get this built if their March date turned into August. Maybe we're all timed out pretty good, but with the new order, the new lead times we're getting at 52 weeks, I don't know.
Well, and I think the 52, well, like you said, you're still sitting on some of them. I think the 52 is hopefully a bit of a misnomer.
To add to what Owen said about the potential for the current circuit maybe to carry us for a while, he said that we can send John out there, do some load measuring. And we may have to camp out there a while and wait for machines to kick off and on, whatever, but we can get some load readings on amps and get some more information to help us with that. But
3 a.m, John.
is that what we got there?
I'll make sure, 3 a.m.
Well, you'll be there with coffee and donuts, right?
So,
We
we're there at
have,
3 in the afternoon.
We have another, along with the recommendation on these bids for labor. Number 2 on the council agenda under city business has to do with authorizing the electric utility to go ahead and order these materials so that we have, as it says, a more established timeline so that rebidding can be based on that. So that's number 2. We're also asking that at the beginning of the council meeting, you amend number 2 to also include allowing the electric utility to restock inventory. A lot of that was related to North Avenue, and it is, I think the estimate was 21,000, but whatever you're down in inventory is basically what you're looking to order.
And we have that order ready to squeeze the trigger and order.
That's not happening.
But I like that we got that agenda item on there. Because the sooner we get this stuff ordered, the better. Owen, when would you picture us? Let's say that our let's say that best case scenario, our stuff is 52 weeks out. When would you recommend bidding?
I would recommend that we, honestly, as soon as we get the items locked in, I mean, if we're not receiving gear until November, we could bid again in September or October.
Because a lot of work could be done without the wire.
A lot of work can be done. We can put, if we get the basements in and we get the HDPE in.
And price, I should mention that, I think at one point, that even if they have projected lead times, it would be helpful.
Well, everything would be helpful for anybody. That's one.
Basically, we want to redo, clean it up, get more information, and come back to it, and bid again, and hope for good competitive bids.
All right.
That's our plan as of right now, anyhow.
Yeah.
Hopefully nothing changes.
Yeah. And now to the solar project.
Yeah. Well, this was originally set up as a work session for the solar, but there's still things that have to be worked out. And one of the problems or the main problem that's throwing off the financial aspect of it is knowing where solar panels are going to be as far as cost. I think the engineer is estimating high, and that is throwing off the financials. I've asked him to look at it in a second way. The original way was to look at 2 megawatts. The second way I've asked him to look at is 1 megawatt. And the reason for that is if we have a chance at this 2% interest money from the state, that will cover a project up to 75%. So 75% of a 1 megawatt project, hopefully when you blend that with the interest on the rest of the project, it makes it more feasible. But again, I have a feeling that we're not going to know where we're truly going to end up unless we go out with an RFP and see where the proposals come in at. Because again, the engineer is trying to aim high on estimates, and they might be right, but who knows? So we might have to just see what comes back and then decide. We might have to wait to a point in time when maybe the solar industry becomes a little more settled. It's unsettled right now. So we have an item, number 8 on the agenda coming up. And you might remember that the council shifted its August meetings to the 8th and the 22nd. So that freed up what would have been your council meeting on the 15th. I wanted to throw that out as a possibility for a special council meeting. Hopefully have a solar presentation on that. And I don't know if we would have any other items for that meeting, but that would be the main reason for doing it. So if that's a possibility, that's something I wanted to ask for near the end of your upcoming agenda.
All right. Any questions for Brian about solar? All right. I think that ends this part of that meeting, and we'll move down to the adjournment for the work session. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion. Second.
McNeil with first and Cummins with second.
Hambrick,
Yes. Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
McNeil,
Yes.
Cummins.
All right, so the work session is adjourned, and we'll start up again in 12 minutes. All right, so I'll call the regular city council meeting to order. Roll call, Council at Large Cummins.
Here.
At Large Postian. Council Ward number 1 Hembry.
Yes. Yes.
Ward number 2 Helm.
Here.
And Ward number 3 McNeil.
Here.
All right, pledge of allegiance, the flag is over this way.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so the agenda, there are a few modifications to this. First of all, number 7, under city business, that would be the volleyball tournament should be stricken from the agenda. Boots called and said that that date is just not working for them right now and that they would try to come up with another date and come to us then. And then under number 2, Brian, what was it?
We wanted to add to that, to what's there, a phrase such as plus allowing the electric utility to restock inventory at a cost of approximately $21,000.
And then the final one should be, there was a, it shouldn't say wastewater, it should say water improvements, right? Under
On
number 6, yes.
Yeah, that's a correction from a previous resolution.
And it says,
Yes, and now it says water, where the July 6th, it said wastewater.
Yeah.
All right, so with those changes to the agenda, is there a motion to approve?
Motion. Second.
McNeil with the first and Helm with the second.
Hembry,
Yes. Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
McNeil, Cummins.
All right, so now this is the communications part. This is where anybody can address the council if they so choose. If you would like to, make your way over to the podium and state your name and address for the record. All right, seeing that there is no one moving that way, I'll close that portion of the meeting and we'll move on to the consent agenda. And these are routine items that can be enacted with one motion. And they are the approval of the liquor license renewal for L&B's Poorhouse, approval of a drip request for Mi Tierra at 310 Cedar Street in the amount of $7,500, and the approval of the claims register, which includes claims paid under the current purchase policy. Do any of these need to be pulled out separately? Seeing there are none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Cummins with the first and Helm with the second.
Helm,
Yes.
Cummins,
Yes.
McNeil,
Yes.
Hembry.
Yes. Yes.
All right, so now the first thing up tonight after that is the public hearing. It's a public hearing to consider the approval of a lease with a 10-year initial term between the city of Tipton and Murray Menti. I do need a motion to open the public hearing. Cummins with the first
Second.
and McNeil with the second.
Cummins, McNeil,
Yes.
Hembry,
Yes. Yes.
Helm.
Yes.
All right, so the public hearing is open. Mr. Wagner?
Well, we haven't received any comments other than communication with Murray. He mentioned that he doesn't agree with the lease amount that was calculated in the same way as it was with the ADA ramp in the alley. And just to mention that a little bit, that was the frame of reference we had. And so we fell back on that for this and did it the same way. But Murray, would you like to address the council about this and I know, the agreement was more than just this. So I don't know if there are other aspects of it too that you want to mention.
Sure, well, yeah, I didn't disagree really too much of anything else in the agreement other than the lease for the 10 years, 4,300. I mean, the comparison is a little bit different than a ramp blocking the widely used city alley versus a right of way. So I understand your way of thinking. You need to fall back looking at, so there's not, disagreement from somebody previously on that, but I would move the car wash pit over on my property, so it just would be concrete on the city right away. Which my feeling is, if there's just concrete on the right of way, why is it any different than approach going to any business around town?
So if you moved it, it would be basically a driveway? Is that,
There'll only be concrete on, right, there'll only be concrete on the city right of way.
yeah, then it would be, it wouldn't be, it wouldn't be applicable. I mean, this agreement wouldn't be applicable to a driveway.
Right. The reason you wanted the agreement was because the wash pit was on the city right of way, is that?
Well, yeah, the commercial use of that area, I think, was the thing that we had in mind. Anybody could, there are driveways to commercial businesses, there are driveways to residential properties.
So the wash pad itself would be on the city right away, but not the pit.
Well, the use, I think the thing that the council was looking at was the use of the right of way. If its use is just a driveway, then it's like any other driveway.
But I think, are you saying that you're going to use it to park the vehicle for,
Right, yeah.
yeah. So it would still be used.
Driveway.
No, it'd still be used as a wash
Yeah,
pad.
it would be used as, right, as the wash pad, but not.
But it's still just concrete on the city right of way.
But the pit is not in the easement.
Right. City, or.
So it'd be no different to me driving at the end of out my building, park my truck on my driveway and wash it.
Right.
Whether I'm sitting on the city easement part of the concrete or not, I wash my truck.
Be no difference than anybody getting a delivery truck backs into my driveway,
But if the,
on my concrete driveway, and I'm taking materials off and on. I mean, it's still commercial use, it's still on the public right of way, but we don't include that.
but the pit part is on your
Right,
That's
property.
correct, right.
But that's a change that we made, that's a change, that wasn't initially that way, that's a change that we made to it.
So to me, there would be, you wouldn't need an agreement like this. 'Cause I don't have a pit. I can just wash it right down the street.
But you're doing your own vehicle.
Yeah, this is for the purpose of.
Well, if somebody asked me to get my power washer out and they want to hose off their car using my driveway, I wouldn't care either, It's just water. Because the
Is this no
debris.
different?
Go, Ron.
Is this any different than what the county does when they, equipment? They're on South Street, on the pad, they'll wash it off outside so they don't bring that dirt into those pits because those pits are bare to clean.
I think he's talking about the county shop.
Murray, your pad slope away from the street or towards it?
Towards the pit.
Oh, wait,
Yeah, nothing on the street.
So away
Yeah.
from the street.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, then the city vehicles get washed off at the ambulance barn now, or at the city shop. Well, that runs down the street. Well, mine's not gonna be running down the street. It's gonna go into.
a separated pit.
It'll fall.
Separated pit.
The shop mostly washes outside or touch the drain, but yes, the ambulance mostly washes outside.
Right.
No, since they changed that.
Yeah.
So what does that do for what we need now? If we're changing it to the drain and the washing into the drain on his own property?
He's not affecting nothing other than the concrete on the right of way.
Right, but
Yeah.
is that something that we need to make a motion on and approve? What I'm asking.
Well, it currently isn't set up for a motion. But if you're okay with that, then I'm not sure that a motion's needed, is it?
I don't think so.
No,
Because the motion would be on the lease agreement and not
right,
Mhm.
right.
them changing their plans.
The wash pad will be on your property, correct? I mean,
So
the
The drain.
drain is on your
It'll
property.
be my property.
Water be contained on yours, not out.
Yeah, there's no water on the street. Yeah.
Okay, second question with the bay receiving. The pit's on his side, it removes all the solids that'll precipitate, what about the pass-through that goes down sanitary sewer? Would it be classified as an I&I source?
Pit, right, Murray, self-contained, non-city sewer, correct?
It's self-contained, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no connection. to
Separate,
city
yeah,
sewer.
just like my, things I have now.
That's what he proposed, there's no connection to city sewer.
Right.
Did you hear that, Ron?
There's no connection to the sanitary sewer?
No,
No.
Correct.
self-contained.
know.
Is that allowed by,
Wait, hold on.
is that allowed by the DNR?
There's a saying,
My understanding through the plumbing code, you're required to have waste streams from engine run.
Hold on,
Discharge.
Ron. Hold on, Ron. They're answering your question. What?
so it's
Randy?
just like in the bays, the inside bays he's got now, those go into a sand and oil separator pit. To catch all that stuff and then they go to the sewer. And then he's required to pump those, or clean those pits so he can go off.
So the
Storm.
water is what's
Storm.
going into the
Correct.
sewer, and
Right.
all of the
Yep.
junk is being separated out.
Yes.
Correct, yeah.
This one, I would assume, speaking of terms, this one I would assume, more often, because you're gonna have some rainwater. You're gonna have more water, probably.
But it's the same idea as far as what the pit is.
Right, yeah.
With that said, is the area over the right of way covered? So it receives no rainwater?
What Ron's getting at is we don't want a quarter-acre wash pad collecting surface and rainwater and blowing the gates off down the plant. We can't have that, that'd be illegal. And some portion of your plans talked about a rock pit, but it is going to the sanitary.
Right, yeah, just, yeah, the regulations say I need to, yeah.
But the problem is the regulations, go ahead, Terry.
Here's a thought. If it's going to a sand and oil interceptor, that's gonna take out all the sand, it's gonna take out all the oil. Why does it have to go into a sanitary? Why can't it go into the storm net? That's what storms are for. Then you don't need to worry about the rainwater either.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You don't have no more down at your plant then,
I like that.
you know. As long as it goes to a sand and oil interceptor and it's clean monthly or bi-monthly or whatever.
Okay, but so in regards to an agreement, it sounds like Murray has changed plans enough that the city council is not gonna pursue a lease
So
agreement.
right, so we're skipping.
But we should make sure that during the public hearing, there's enough documentation in the
Yeah.
record that we can go back and look at what we're talking about here.
So write furiously, Amy.
With the storm.
They're gonna switch to storm.
I got a question.
Yep.
So Murray is gonna be using this for public use on city property. What about liability here? I mean, I don't have a problem with it at all. I think it's good, but we need some type of agreement that's gonna go ahead and probably go to city limits. If something would happen, if they're out there power washing their truck and the truck goes over somebody, they're gonna go ahead and go after Murray and they're gonna go after the city because it's on city property.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I think that's something we need to be careful of.
I thought we had that written.
No, that would have been in that 10-year lease, but now,
Oh, right,
Yeah.
okay. So we still need some sort of
Yeah.
agreement.
Protect both Murray and then the city. also.
Yeah.
Kind of a release liability.
Yeah.
Clause for you guys.
Write up a new plan.
yep,
Pardon?
we'll need
Write
that.
up a new plan, come back.
Well, maybe we could just have the hold harmless written up by the attorney and see if that's enough without having to bring it back.
Okay.
I mean, maybe we would, but if it might, if it's just them signing it and not us because they're the ones, maybe it's just a matter of having it drawn up, something simple and having it on record.
And so then moving forward, and it sounds like we're not gonna go after this lease agreement, then as long as Murray's plans are okay with city staff, they can start construction soon. They don't have to wait for anything, do they? Other
Well,
than approve.
Mayor, may I?
Yeah, Ron.
Back in 2007, we had a drop on the bowling alley car wash. It blew the ammonia levels over 21 parts. State regulators were after us from basically the 1st of April through July 7th. We were in violation of permit due to exceeding our ammonia nitrogen limitation coming in. We were blowing 21 parts. The scary part when you start discharging to storm and just going through a pre-filter is some of the potential contaminants that Maury can't control can discharge there, and it puts you subjective to liability, which would make me as a council member nervous. I prefer having it go through sanitary sewer based on the concepts of the Uniform Plumbing Code, which hasn't changed a whole lot in 20 some years. It's not much different than the rest. But the caveat there is if it's an open bay, you end up with those stormwater issues to where you get tagged for the cubic feet of water per inch of concrete that it covers. You know, and those are the things that as a city, we need to make sure we address.
Did you take notes, Brian Brown? And Terry? All right.
Well, where are we at then?
It's a tough call.
Where are we at?
I mean, you can't have,
Ryan and Jerry need to talk about it, or?
you can't have it outside and inside at the same time. I mean, if we're continuing the sanitary, your Brown's absolutely right. You can't add a quarter acre of surface area in the plant. You just can't do that.
So if you go to the storm,
If our inspector says it's okay to put it in the storm, I don't know what the levels are coming out of the water. Car wash.
okay, is there storm sewer along Lynn Street?
I believe there is.
Yeah.
I think we should have an opportunity to look deeper into that. Terry, did we?
Yeah, but, currently look through the plumbing code. You know. I can do that tomorrow. I don't want to come to it.
So everybody's okay with that, except we need to decide if it's going into the storm or the sanitary.
I think that's about where we're at. And then you guys will get with Brian and Terry to figure out which is best. That sound right?
And the city attorney's gonna draw up some type of liability.
Yeah.
Release of
But
liability.
if it goes in, forgive me if it requires, if it's sanitary and needs a roof, right?
Yeah, the only way we'd allow the sanitary is if we keep surface and rainwater out.
Then that would be over the right of way, right?
Yeah, that doesn't- So that's kind of a no-go.
So if it's sanitary, it doesn't work. If it's storm, it can work.
That's the way I see it. And storm's gonna require some on-site treatment, which is basically what we're talking
Shazam.
Lightning from my hands.
Okay.
All right. Clear as
Mud.
used car wash water.
Clear as sand.
All right. All right, but everybody's got everybody's number and people will call people and
Well, and if it blows itself up to where we have to come back for council approval, then we'll put it back on if needed.
all right. Sounds like we're to the end of this public hearing. Is there a motion to close?
Motion.
Cummins with first and McNeil with second.
Cummins,
Yes.
McNeil,
Yes.
Hembry.
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
All right, so first one under city business is a resolution that would reject the bids for the Tipton Underground Industrial Feeder Project. Any updates, Mr. Wagner?
No.
All right. This is to reject the bids from that we talked about during the work session. Is there a motion to approve? McNeil with the first and Helm with the second.
McNeil,
Yes.
Hembry, Hembry,
Ron? No, go on.
Helm,
Yes.
Cummins,
All right.
Hembry,
Number two, it's a discussion of possible action authorizing the city staff to continue to order materials for the industrial feeder project to create the more established timeline. And then the addition was,
Authorizing the electric utility to restock inventory at a cost of approximately $21,000.
Motion.
21.5. McNeil made the first
Second.
and
Second.
Cummins second.
okay, McNeil and Cummins.
Yep.
Hembry,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Cummins, McNeil,
Yes.
All right, number three, it's a discussion of possible action concerning the county supervisor's request for a starting threshold for when the county needs to start paying or being required to obtain building permits for this. I see Brad Gowell is here and Terry is as well. Mr. Wagner?
Well, first, I guess I could ask Brad, is the way the motion worded, is that what the supervisors, is that what you're asking?
Well, we had really no issues with the inspections. And what we had an issue with is the fees. And I think, I'm not really speaking for everybody in there. I thought more people would be here, but it's just the fees. We understand that inspections have to be done, permits. I don't know how many of those will have to be done. Like if you put a roof on, it's going to have to be an inspection, right?
Correct.
Yeah, it's the fees we have a problem with.
Well, we pay the county $1,000 fee every year for our swimming pool.
I'll check into that. I did see that. I'll ask that tomorrow.
What kind of fees, like what are the total cost of fees that
Well,
you
what are
guys are
some of
looking
the
at?
fees, Terry? Like if you guys, the elevators at Finland, or
Yeah, it's all based on total cost of project.
Sure, but like what's an average for,
Well, if it's $100,000 project, $50 or $100. It's usually about 1%. They're not very, very large fees.
so actually their fees that they're paying would be less than the fees that we're paying?
No, the city doesn't pay any fees. There's only, because that's like paying ourselves.
I meant the fees
No,
that we're
no,
paying
meant
the
the,
county.
like the pool, yeah.
And the only other entities that usually don't pay fees is number one, is federal government. Post office wanted to put a new elevator in theirs, they wouldn't have to pay any fees. And the state owned property, they don't pay fees. But usually everything else, everybody else pays the fees.
so $100,000 roof, it's actually going to be more. I don't know how much more, but so that'd be 1%,
I'm just throwing that out there, I don't have to, I don't want to.
which is substantial amount for us, I think. So that's kind of where I'm at. That's why I came in tonight.
Well, so we can, whatever your fees are for your construction projects, we'll just delete it off our end at the pool. And we'll just take a trade.
But I'll check on that.
We'll take a
I don't know
trade.
What that is.
But is it, I mean, you mentioned the elevator. You're probably paying the state something for elevator inspection. Is it county, city, or county, state, or are you just looking at city, not state, or how?
Well, we're not sure where that's all gonna go with that elevator, because that's gonna be quite a, depending on which way we go, to bring it up to code or keep it up to code. It can be a lot of money, so, yeah, I would imagine we're paying state inspections on that. So anyway, that's why I came in. If you guys want to forgive that, that's fine, please. We'll talk about that other one some other time.
It's hard to say. We don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, we're just trying to pull up.
So with and there's some discussion in there about planting trees. You have to have a permit for that.
I think we amended our.
Okay.
What we were doing, what we were trying, the tree planting.
Yeah, I think the concern was, I talked to Steve about it. I think the way it was worded made it look like any case. I think the concern we have the most is if somebody is looking to plant, we want to know that it's not in the right of way.
I don't think we've ever charged the county for, to get a permit for planting on their block or charge them. In fact, I planted those trees behind the courthouse, and two of them right next to the building, which now they're getting a pretty good size. But, that could be eliminated as far as I'm concerned. It's just part of the basic code, I think, that we're talking about. It didn't never really apply to the county. I like those guys, so it's okay.
And I don't think everybody was there that day. She came in 3 or 4 weeks ago, all the supervisors. It was one going, so maybe two. But I'll take it back to them and see what their feelings are. We haven't really talked about it. I saw this on the agenda. I thought I'd come in and see if you guys can forgive those fees.
Well, I've got the piece there right here, Brad. I mean, for $100,000 project, the building permit fee would be $175. For 50,000, it's 125. For 25,000, it's 100.
I think it just surprised a few of us when the fees were brought up, and because we've never paid the fees, never done that with the city. And Brian, you brought that up about the swimming pool, so I'll check into that. Maybe there's something changed, I don't know, but I'll be talking about that tomorrow a little bit.
Okay, sure.
So, what?
So in these fees that the county is wanting to have looked at, does the city provide them a service with Terry showing up and providing that service
Yeah.
for their project? And if he does, should not the fee be applied? No different than if I go to the swimming pool and I go swimming, whether I swim for 6 or 2 hours. You receive a service for your fee, you should, provide it out that way.
In order to get some more clarity from the supervisors, I don't know, I think maybe tabling this would be apropos.
I'm sorry I don't have more information, but
You're
it
fine.
really hasn't been discussed ever since Brian and Terry left that day. So I'll be bringing that up.
All right.
But just an observation. What Ron said is the essence of how it's supposed to work.
But it just kind of surprises because it's never happened before. It was brought up and we thought he was, all the inspections and fees and stuff would be substantial. And it really wasn't talked too much about exactly how much the fees were going to be.
All right. Is there a motion to table?
Motion.
Cummins with first
Second.
and McNeil with second.
Helm,
Yes.
Cummins,
Yes.
McNeil,
Yes.
Hembry,
Yes.
All right, number 4, it's a resolution. Thank you for coming in, Brad, as well. Resolution authorizing the acceptance and execution of a downtown housing grant agreement for the Rhinos project. Mr.
Yeah.
Wagner?
as you know, the city was awarded a grant of 200,000 for, that can be used toward 2 upper story apartments at Rhinos. Although it's a private development, the way the application was set up, it travels through the city. And so the city has to sign an agreement as a subrecipient. And then when the developer does their project, we have to follow that up with a development agreement with them that ensures that they do the same project that the award was for.
Any questions on this? Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Helmuth first, Hembry with second.
Cummins, McNeil,
Yes.
Hembry,
Yes.
Helm,
All right, down to number 5. It's an ordinance providing for the division of taxes levied on taxable property in the July 2022 edition of the Tipton Urban Renewal Area. This will be the second and third final readings. We have to have a motion. If nobody has any questions, I have to have a motion to suspend the rules.
We'll do the second reading first.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
To do this, yeah. Got to do the second reading first. So is there a motion to do the second reading? Cummins with the first and McNeil with the second.
McNeil,
Yes.
Hembry,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Cummins,
All right, so now I need a motion to suspend the rules. Helm with the first and Cummins with the second.
McNeil,
Yes.
Hembry,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Cummins,
And now a motion to pass the third and final reading. Cummins with the first and Helm with the second.
McNeil,
Yes.
Hembry,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Cummins,
All right, and now a motion to reinstate the rules. Cummins with the first,
Second.
Helm with the second.
Yes.
Hembry,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Cummins,
All right, so now down to number 6. It's a resolution that would set a public hearing for the 2020 water improvement CDBG.
Melissa.
Oh yeah, sorry, Melissa.
This is just updating the resolution from your last council meeting that it states water project, not wastewater project.
All right, is there a motion to set this public hearing?
Motion.
McNeil with the first and Cummins with the second.
Hembry,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Cummins, McNeil,
Yes.
All right, down to number 8, since we don't have number 7. It's a discussion of possible action concerning that special council meeting that Brian had mentioned earlier on August 15th at 5:30 to discuss the solar project.
Yeah, if it's possible.
All right, motion from Cummins to set a meeting on August 15th
Second.
and McNeil with the second.
Helm,
Yes.
Cummins,
Yes.
McNeil,
Yes.
Hembry,
Yes.
All right, so now down to reports. Mayor's report, I don't have anything this time. Council?
I just want to say that there will be grills in the park by the end of the week, end of the weekend for sure. But end of the
Nice.
week, I think.
Awesome, because the Cub
That
boy,
would be Jack Owens.
Yes.
doing- That's his project that we are doing.
awesome. Committee reports, city manager,
Nothing tonight.
department heads. All right, then that moves us down to adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn? Cummins with the first and Helm with the second.
Cummins,
Yes.
McNeil,
Yes.
Hembry,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
All right, thank you, everyone. We are adjourned.